Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call this meeting of the Woodford County Fiscal Court to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Squire Taylor.
Here.
Squire Gentry.
Here.
Squire Varner.
Here.
Squire Carl.
Here.
Squire Downey.
Here.
Squire Blackford. Squire Hill.
Here.
Squire Brown.
Here. Thank you. Before we move to our invocation, a very special lady, Jessica Lane Coleman, 36-year-old mom of three, wife, Woodford County connections, lost her battle with cancer, and she leaves behind her husband, three little girls, and a grieving family, and has a deep and abiding Woodford County connection. She was born to Tony and Rhonda Baker, and Baker Lane, and she grew up as a beacon of light in our community. She was a devoted Christian. She was a friend to many. She was really close with many folks in our community, and she passed away, but she leaves a bright light, and she remains a beacon of light and hope. And I was fortunate to attend her homecoming, her funeral, and she was a very, very special person that meant a lot to Woodford County. She lived in Anderson County, but she meant a lot here. So I'd like to offer our thoughts and prayers to her family, to her many friends, and to offer a moment in silence in honor of Jessica Aaron Lane Coleman. Amen. Thank you. I'd like to invite Pastor Joe Lauderdale of Living Grace Church to offer our invocation this evening. If you wouldn't mind, please turn on the mic.
Father, we thank you for time together. God, we thank you that we are all able to be here and able to work with your wisdom. God, I pray for your discernment, for your spiritual guidance with every decision that's made. Lord, we pray for a spirit of cooperation and of unity, Lord, for the betterment of this community. God, let all the decisions be, Lord, led with your guidance and with your wisdom. And Lord, let everything that they talk about, all of the money that goes through, Lord, just to be touched by your hand and be met with success. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And before we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, let me just thank Pastor Joe Lauderdale and Living Grace Church again. I think folks would be surprised how many nights it dips below freezing in Kentucky. And each night it does that, they keep the light on in Living Grace Church to serve those in need who don't have any place to go in the cold. And that was a responsibility they took upon their shoulders and their congregation led by Pastor Joe. And we really appreciate that effort. Thank you so much. Thank you. If you would and are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I will call for public comment after the good of the county. But we will start out with our program, the Good of the County program. For the good of the county, a pretty great county in my opinion, Squire Downey, Woodford County. And tonight we recognize two individuals who have done a lot to serve in our soil conservation district. They've done a lot more in our community, but we're specifically recognizing Peggy Carter Seal and Donald Mitchell for their decades of contributions to the Soil Conservation District. In January, Peggy Carter Seal was presented with the Soil Conservation District of Kentucky Honor Award by the chair, Donald Mitchell, in recognition of her unparalleled dedication to 25 years of distinguished service to the Woodford County Conservation Board. Peggy Carter Seal now serves as vice chair and the head of the Education Committee. She has tirelessly contributed to the advancement of environmental education within Woodford County, leveraging her extensive experience as an elementary school teacher to advocate for the integration of environmental awareness into early childhood development. Throughout her illustrious tenure as a teacher, Peggy Carter Seal has been a beacon of inspiration and guidance, earning accolades such as the Woodford County Conservation Teacher of the Year and the Kentucky Environmental Teacher of the Year, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to fostering a generation of environmentally conscious Woodford County citizens. Beyond her professional endeavors, Peggy Carter Seal has exemplified a profound dedication to the well-being of our community, devoting her time and efforts to initiatives such as Woodford County's Food Pantry and support for the Senior Citizens Center, embodying the spirit of selflessness and compassion. Peggy's integrity, dedication, and expertise has earned her the respect and admiration of her colleagues, partners, and our communities. And today we honor Mrs. Peggy Carter Seal. We also recognize Mr. Donald Mitchell, who has dedicated over 35 years of exemplary service to the Woodford County Conservation Board. Donald Mitchell's tenure has been marked by steadfast dedication to Woodford County's community, serving with distinction in the pivotal role as chair of the board for many years now, during which time he's played a crucial role in the construction of the Agriculture Resources Building, providing a central hub for essential services including the Fish and Wildlife, Farm Service Agency, UK's Cooperative Extension Office, and our Conservation District. Throughout his distinguished tenure, Donald Mitchell has exemplified the qualities of a true leader, possessing a level head, a kind demeanor, and unparalleled responsiveness to the needs of our staff and the community. Donald's enduring legacy of service and dedication has left an indelible mark on the Woodford County Conservation Board, and it shapes the growth and success for many years to come. And as you all know, we are a deep and long extending partnership with the Conservation District, and therefore I found it was appropriate to recognize and honor this decades-long service of both Peggy Carter Seal and Mr. Donald Mitchell. If you would, please.
I just want to say how much we appreciate the support of the Fiscal Court and have all the years that I have served on the board. And this was nice to recognize Donald and I because we have served for a long time. But we're a team effort at the Conservation Board, and it takes every supervisor to get the job done. And something bad happened to us a year or so ago when we lost one of our really good members, Darrell Varner, to join you all as a magistrate. And I know that you all have really enjoyed him, and I think he has really dedicated himself to not just serving our farming and conservation district, but working to serve the whole county. So anyway, all I can say is thank you very much.
Thank you, Peggy.
Yeah, echo Peggy's sentiments. We really appreciate the court, always have. We've always had a good relationship with the court and hope to continue doing that. A little history lesson. When I first got on the board 35 plus years ago, our office was in, I think, the P&Z office now with Martha Newby and Randall Rock. And board members, and I'll probably forget somebody, Harold Carmichael, Charlie and Claude Kinzick, Randolph Cotton, Herman Pittman, and Hensley Mackey. And none of them are with us anymore, unfortunately, but good people. And over the years, a lot of good people have been on the board. David Lloyd, Dr. Harry Watts, of course, Darrell. And it's been my pleasure. What I get the most out of is the people I served with. We've always had a level head and didn't take ourselves too seriously, and still don't. And And even now, the board is good as it's ever been with Peggy and our new chair, Michael Duckworth. We've conned him into getting on there and taking over the reins. And Robert Richardson, Curtis Congleton, Brad Carmichael, and Joe Greathouse is coming on the board. So good people. And it's been a pleasure to serve. Darrell was outstanding. I hated to lose him, but a lot of history.
We're not going to give him back now. No matter how
Yeah,
much
we're going to steal him back. It's sort of had pleasure serving on the board, rec board with Coach Blackford, and enjoyed, just any board I've been on, I've enjoyed the people more than anything. But appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. That concludes our Good of the County program. We thank Donald and Peggy so much and the Conservation District as well. Does anybody have any public comment? Anybody wishing to seek to address the court or the public? Seeing none, we do have the approval of our minutes of our regular meeting of March 12th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, are there any objections to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 12th as presented? Seeing no objections, I'll approve same without objection. I'll move on to committee reports, and we held a Budget and Finance Committee meeting prior to this, and one of the items on there was the Conservation District's budget. And I'd like to, as an extension of that meeting, invite Chair Michael Duckworth just to give a brief presentation of the Conservation District budget to us. If you'd like to approach the podium, sir.
Thank you. I think you all got a copy of this. We actually approved it last night at our meeting, and it's in a draft form, of course. So if you have any questions, we'll try to answer those for you, and I'll yield my time to Donald and Vivian. Introduce Vivian Ross, our conservation supervisor there from the office, and she's just been recently with us. So you were presented our office budget. You see there was requests coming in there about $215,000 in general funds from the fiscal court. Those obviously are the funds for the salaries and the benefits and all the operations of the office for the entire year. But just a couple of highlights I'd like to hit, because some of the things that I grew up with as a child, and my dad and my mom taught me a lot of these things on our farm over in Harrison County, was caring for the land and learning a lot of these things as I went through 4-H and FFA. So it kind of comes full circle, especially as I was an extension agent and worked with all those people and all those boards in those offices. But just a few of the things, I wish you could have sat with us Friday when we went over our scholarship applications, our teacher grants, and our community grants. Those are very special, and we focus on those things. So good number of those things, about $85,300 of the program monies you see there in your budget request go to things like conservation for backyard programs, dead animal removal, field crop programs, which that's a fairly new program that we've budgeted $35,000 for, but that's going into row crop farms across the county, about 2,560 acres. 70 home gardeners did garden cover crop program, and then we had 38 farms that did the Rock Gateway, and 80 head of livestock were utilized through the dead animal removal program. So we've got another young man. He's not here with us tonight, but Jared Davenport. He's our 75-25 person through NRCS. That's a great partnership. We get basically the benefit of a technician in Woodford, Franklin, and Anderson County. And so we get 75% of that paid through the federal budget. So this is a real good blend of federal, state, and local programs. The couple things I will mention: we had 10 cost shares that were approved for $108,000. So it brings in not only money that you all present to us through your budget, but other monies that come in to match farmer programs on there. And it's just amazing what's been gone on over the years. So Jared has helped us put a lot of new 27 EQIP applications out. He's been out and visited 40 farms since he's been here over the past year. So there's a lot of details and facts that I'm happy to share with you, but I just wanted to hit the high points of some of the things, and we always appreciate your all support. I've been told, even though I'm a short timer on the board, that at some point in time, we'll have you guys back out and we'll have a dinner. I think that was kind of customary for several years, so we hope to return to that in the near future. But until we get there tonight, we'll just come and present this budget to you. Also, just other informational things, we do have the ag resource building budget in there. None of those funds come through fiscal court, but just a matter of transparency, we share that, and we also share our equipment budget. About 200 days of farm rental for things like no-till drills and lots of conservation equipment go out through the county, through the office. It's managed by Vivian and also by Jared. And lastly, we've got an AmeriCorps person that's joined us short-term, got a contract with, so we're utilizing a lot of funds through various sources and trying to be creative and trying to be very conscientious about the tax dollars that we use every day through the office. So glad to answer any questions, but certainly thank you all for your time and appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duckworth. And anybody have any questions for the chair or anybody, any other questions regarding that draft Conservation District budget? But you did say it was approved last night, so that's what you'll be presenting, pretty much?
Yes, you had a draft, and then earlier today, I think we got our approved budget from last night, yes.
Well, thank you. I don't speak for the whole court, but we like to have lunches better than dinners if you want to have us over. You know, bedtime starts early over at the K household. I know a couple other households on this court might start early. Most people be eating dinner when my house is down. We really appreciate you all being here, and I think this is one of the earliest we've requested the budget from you all, and you all, you know, obviously provided it and came and offered to answer any question. Does anybody have any questions regarding the budget? Seeing none, well, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Vivian. I know that she worked hard on that as well. Thank you, Peggy and Donald, for being here, and Mr. Duckworth as chair. But if there's nothing else, you all are more than welcome to stay for the meeting, but you're also more than welcome to be excused. Some exhilarating stuff coming up, I'm sure. But thank you all again. And as I mentioned, we're in Budget and Finance Committee reports. We held our Budget and Finance Committee prior here too, and we reviewed the Parks and Recreation budget, which has been passed by the Parks Board. We reviewed the Versailles Midway Woodford County Planning and Zoning Commission. That is their preliminary budget, is not the finally approved budget. And we had some very interesting discussions along those lines. We had Chief Mike Murray from Versailles Police Department present the proposed police budget. And we had some general budget discussion. But that was the total sum of our committee work. Does anybody have any questions about the committee report? Seeing none, I'll move on to reports of the treasurer. Madam Treasurer, your report, please.
Tonight's balance is $16,266,332.74.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
And I don't know if you all saw it in your email or not, but we got money from the, well, there's an allocation to us from the state. There was additional House Bill 1 funds, and it's for the preservation of records in the county clerk's office. So I just need your all's permission to have the clerk sign the application so that we can request those funds.
Is there a motion? There is a motion.
Second.
And a second by Squire Gill. This is some routine business related to the HB1 County Clerk Recorded Instruments Grant. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the application for the HB1 grant. It also includes the request for disbursement. The motion's on the table. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
And Madam Treasurer, I do have the MOA between the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the Office of the Governor, Department of Local Government, State Office of Grants, and the Fiscal Court for the jail arraignment equipment. Do you want me to move on that one? Yes. Is there a motion to approve that MOA? Motion. Motion by Squire Varner, second by Squire Brown. This is it's a new initiative statewide that allows for jail arraignments to be done basically via video conference. And it's standardizing and making uniform all of the equipment across all the jails in Kentucky. And we'll certainly take a grant for that as opposed to being mandated to pay for it.
And there,
Yeah, Squire
This is
Taylor, you're
actually
recognized.
phase 2 of that. We've already received part of it. This is for the software component that goes along with it.
and there's not a local share on this
There
either.
is not.
Okay.
There is not.
So I would, we have a motion. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries. Thank you, Madam Treasurer, who has been hard at work on the budget, and we appreciate it very much. Director Chandler.
Thank you, Judge. Got 2 requests for the court's consideration this evening.
Yes, sir.
It's that time of year again. Homeland Security's opened up their grant application window. There's a project that we'd like to put a fresh coat of paint on for our critical infrastructure. It's a diesel fuel trailer. We were told that it reviewed well last year. They just ran out of money. So we'd like to resubmit that with the court's permission, and that is the resolution that was included in your packet.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-05?
Motion.
KOHS, motion by Squire Carl, second by Squire Gill. Are there any questions for the director?
Judge, I would
Yeah.
add a comment that we're already working with the City of Midway and Versailles Fire Departments on related but different projects, also for the same grant application, pending their City Council's approval of a similar resolution.
Appreciate that. Any questions upon the resolution? There is basically to enter into an agreement with Homeland Security to execute the documents that are required for that. But we've got a motion to adopt the resolution. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries.
Judge, the second item is an out-of-state travel request.
You have that before you. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request?
Motion. Second.
By Squire Gentry, second by Squire Brown. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries.
That's
Anything
all I have.
else?
Thank you, Judge.
So you all may see that there's someone taking pictures around the courtroom. We are in a new reality series called The Real Fiscal Court of Woodford County. No. This is Brenna Angel. She is with KCO, and she is doing some public promotion of fiscal courts and county operations for County Month, which is coming up in April. And she decided to come just down the road to Woodford County to see how it should be done. Most of the time. No, we appreciate you being here, Brenda. Thank you. And now no one will act normal, but that's all right. We got through almost halfway through the reports before I told everybody, so we should be good. I'd like to invite Sam Dunn, the Jack Jewett House, to the podium. I have some sad news, but also in the whole scheme of things, it's ultimately good news for Sam that he has explained that he'd be moving on, and I'll let him share that. And we also have Debbie Adams of the Woodford County Heritage Committee with us as well, and we are working on a plan that we will present to you all to move forward. But Sam, if you would turn on the mic, and I'll just let you give an update from.
Thank you. Well, I have accepted a new position with the State Park Service in Louisville. Actually recently moved to Louisville, and pretty excited about that, pretty excited about the state park position. So there are going to be some changes to the Jewett House. I've communicated to Judge Kay and to the members of the Heritage Committee, though, that I don't want to leave the Jewett House unmanned or closed, right when we're really stepping into another season. We've got a full slate of scheduling. We've got more of our brunches that I know several of you attended. We've got a 5K, more bluegrass music, stuff like that. So I made sure before I even took the job that I'll be able to come to those events. And I'm hoping to also maybe help train or offer any assistance that I can to the next person, to my successor. So you'll definitely see me again. but I am stepping back and changing roles at the Jewett House.
Thank you, Sam.
Sadly, I'm very sad about it as well, actually.
Well, we really appreciate it, and we understand that opportunities come along. But the recommendation that we have for the court is, first of all, you all know that Sam is a contract employee. He's not a county employee proper. And we continue. And my recommendation is that we continue his contract until basically he no longer can contribute. And basically, he's an hourly contractor. And so he will basically keep his hours, and he's still contributing. He's on our leadership call yesterday. He's still doing a lot of things for the house.
Yeah. And like I said, my main really concern is just to keep the house, keep the events going, keep our momentum that we have in the county going, and keep trying to improve the Jewett House any way we can. So. And
one of the other interim measures that both Sam and I have recommended to the Heritage Committee, and we're going to recommend to the court, is that we bring on an additional contractor to help out with tours. We've got an individual that's interested in that may be able to come on board, and so as we will very likely have before you a contract for a tour operator, tour schedule, or something like that will help us fill the gaps of Sam's time there. And then at the request, and I think it's good to go ahead and just advertise the hiring of the executive director position. Go ahead and put that out there and start working on that. So I would open up any questions upon that plan as presented. Any questions?
Sorry, Judge, it's not as much a question as it's a thank you, and I appreciate your willingness to continue to make sure that any transition is successful. I really appreciate your commitment to the community, and not just the Jewett House, but our whole community. And got some big shoes to fill, whoever comes after you, but really appreciate your willingness, and look forward to continuing to work with you as long as we have you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Squire Blackford.
I want to thank you also, Sam. You've done an outstanding job there. You're an outstanding person, and you brought a lot of great events and activities out there. And you're really passionate about what you're doing, and you really made us proud. And I wish you well as you go to Louisville. I know you can do a great job. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Squire Blackford. I would echo those sentiments, Sam. You've been a pleasure to work with. We're lucky to have you for the time that we've had you. I really do believe that you're in the forefront of folks that are running historic sites in Kentucky and the nation. We're really fortunate to have somebody like you and somebody like your predecessor, Susan Hughes, who are so highly qualified and capable in that role to serve as a county site director. And it's not surprising that a state site would want someone like Sam, and I think his sights are set even bigger and higher for your future. But we do appreciate your hard work and contribution to the Jack Jewett House for sure. And I really appreciate your flexibility, willing to stay with us as we work through a transition.
Yeah, thank you. And I do want to say that just because I'm stepping back, I still expect to see everyone at our events this year too. So please continue to come out, and I'll send you emails for sure. So thank you.
Thank you. So I would entertain a motion for us to advertise and hire for an executive director position at the Jack Jewett House.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Gentry, second by Squire Carl. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The next item would be to authorize the judge executive to negotiate a contract for a tour operator position to help fill in the gaps in the transition for the Jewett House. Motion by Squire Blackford, second by Squire Brown. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries. I think that's all we have. Madam Chair, Debbie Adams, did you have anything you'd like to share with the court, or?
I just want to echo how fortunate we were to find Sam, to have Sam. And we immediately recognized his potential and knew that he wouldn't stay long, but whatever time he could give us would be wonderful. And he has truly grown and contributed to the Jack Jewett House and for its preservation for years to come. And we hope to continue our relationship with Sam in whatever way he's willing.
Thank you for those kind comments, and thank you for your service and volunteer work on the committee. All right, that's all the reports I have. I do want to share that the cemetery board is reconstituted, and we'll have a meeting tomorrow at noon here, if anybody is interested. But we did reconstitute that board, and they will have a meeting tomorrow. Speaking of board appointments, the general orders and unfinished business, I'd like to recommend for your vote and acceptance the appointment of Megan Hoover to the Northeast Woodford Water District Board for a term set to expire May 1st, 2024.
Motion.
Yes, there's a motion by Squire Taylor, second by Squire Gentry. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll have to renew that appointment very soon, but I appreciate Ms. Hoover taking that on if ratified. All those in favor of the appointment of Megan Hoover to the Northeast Woodford Water District, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. The claims, the bills to be paid by this county are before you. Are there any questions or comments on any of the bills to be paid? Are there any objections to any of the bills to be paid? Seeing none, I will approve the bills to be paid without objection. We need to ratify the March 19th email vote approving the Lowe's business account in the claim amount of $2,116.64. Our Stockyards Bank Visa for the fiscal court in the amount of $2,033.76, and our Stockyards Visa for the sheriff's office asset forfeiture in the amount of $26.27. Is there a motion to ratify that email vote? Motion by Squire Brown, second by Squire Varner. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Next, the motion for the claim of Axon Enterprises, Inc. in the amount of $7,604.28 for the sheriff's office asset forfeiture funds. Is there a motion to approve same?
Motion.
Motion by Squire Carl, second by Squire Gentry. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries. We need to approve the claim of JRG Enterprises LLC in the amount of $977 using the sheriff's office asset forfeiture funds. Motion by Squire Brown, second by Squire Gill. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries. You have the quarter-end transfers before you. Is there a motion to approve same? Motion by Squire Brown, second by Squire Carl. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the quarter-end transfers, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries. We move on to neighborhood grant applications. On March 15th, we received Oak Hill Estates application. I'll give you all another period between court to review that, to give a full 2 weeks. The next item would be the amended application from Marywood, received March 18th. As we have conditionally approved their initial application and approved their agreement, then it would be appropriate to conditionally approve their amended application if that is something that the court desires to do.
I'd like to move to accept the amended for Marywood.
So Squire Varner's moving to accept the amended application for Marywood. And will you move that to be contingently approved, please?
Yes, sir. Contingently approved.
There is a motion to contingently approve Marywood's amended application, and I would like to open up the floor for any discussion thereon.
You need a second?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, Squire Gill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries unanimously. We have a second application for the Derby Hills neighborhood, received 325. We could take that up at the next court meeting. However, we have conditionally denied second applications of any neighborhood to this point. And that conditional application would be that we would still consider it if a new grant opportunity were to open up, that they would be eligible for, but in the current grant program, that they would be denied. That would be the basis of a conditional denial if the court moves to adopt same. Is there a motion?
I want to clarify the motion. The motion is a conditional denial.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Squire Gentry, second by Squire Downey, to conditionally deny the Derby Hills second application. For the record, Derby Hills had a first application that was approved and funded. And no other neighborhood, city, or county has received 2 neighborhood grant allocations in the program. So we're not trying to be punitive in any sort of way, but we also we will also keep that application in the event that a new grant program is open. There's a motion on the table. All those in favor of same, please vote, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. I'd like to invite Chris Jones from Energize Kentucky, who is with us, and we have an important EPAD project. Mr. Jones, thank you for your patience and waiting through our court business. But we do have your agreement that is presented for the fiscal court and Rick and Steele Real Estate LLC, as well as Greenworks Lending LLC for the EPAD program. So I'll open up the floor to you to give a brief explanation of what you need from us.
All right, yes, very good. So just a quick history and memory lesson. So there was the Energy Project Assessment District that was passed back in 2021. And what that does is simply allows commercial property owners to apply for private financing for energy efficiency and renewable energy improvements on their buildings. And so our first one was in 2021, the Holiday Inn Express. And then the second one was in November of 2022 for the Rick House Hotel. And we're actually in front of you again for that same project. It's essentially a reapproval. And so basically what happened there was that they had a state historical tax credit that was expected to be a larger amount. It came in at a much smaller amount, and so they had to recapitalize their full stack, financing stack. And so that's why there's been a period why that initial PACE approval for, again, Rick House Hotel did not close, and we thought it would be appropriate to come back in front of you for reapproval since there has been time that has passed. The project from the PACE funding side has not changed at all. It's still the $1.75 million for the same set of improvements. And really the only thing kind of technically that changes is that they're going to pay actually a little bit less in capitalized interest because it's from the time that the funding actually closes, which we're hopeful to close on Thursday if we can get signatures and you all approve tonight. And then their first payment will go to December of 2026. On the November 2022, their first payment would have been December of 2025. So hopefully you can follow all those connecting the dots, but simply it's a reapproval for the same project that was initially approved in November of 2022.
Thank you, Chris, and that is a big benefit because this is more of a routine second approval than the first approval, although the first one was pretty straightforward as well. But I would open up for any questions from the court regarding the program approval for essentially Rick and Steele. I would just make the comment that, building and renovating a building like the old Community Trust Bank building and putting a hotel in a relatively small city like this is a big project. It's a big level of investment. Mm-hmm. And Woodford County being one of the only counties in Kentucky to have EPAD is a big advantage for folks who want to renovate and build in areas like our downtown. And so I'm proud that this court and the former court passed EPAD to have that advantage. That gives our economic development a little bit of boost. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited for the hotel project.
And I would add, I did actually walk through it here before the court meeting, one of the owners, and yeah, it's going to be something. You know, it's still kind of bare bones if you peeked in the windows yourselves, but yeah, it's going to be really something very, very unique. So yeah, you're going to end up having parking problems, in my humble opinion, after it goes in, which is good problems, I think. Maybe to some, maybe some
Might have
not.
just made the paper, Chris.
Spell that name again.
Yeah.
The good news is we're working on parking, and we've got some plans. But hey, those are good problems to have. Those are growing pains. It'll really change the face of downtown that has already changed a lot, and we're doing big things. And I think that any other questions for Mr. Jones? Seeing none. I entertain a motion to approve the EPAD program financing agreement between the county, Rick and Still, Greenworks, and to authorize the judge executive and county attorney to sign any and all documents related thereto.
Make a motion.
Motion by Squire Downing, second by Squire Taylor. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. We also need to approve the notice of assessment and the approval of the final energy project note of assessment as presented, and to authorize the judge executive to sign any of those documents. Is there a motion? Motion by Squire Blackford, second by Squire Taylor. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The final motion would be for the judge executive to have the authority and authorization to sign any and all documents necessary to finalize the EPAD approval for this project. Motion by Squire Varner, second by Squire Carl. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries unanimously.
All right, very
Thank you,
good.
Mr. Jones.
Thank
We
you all.
appreciate it very much.
Yep.
Judge, may I say one thing?
Yes, sir.
And I think it's a compliment to the court and your innovation in doing this. I hear from my fellow county attorneys, and I'm always pleased to hear, well, we were told Woodford County has done this, so it must be a good thing, and I heard that from Pulaski County, so thank you for holding us to that high standard.
And I appreciate the time, because I definitely use you all as reference, because it will kind of back to memory lane. You know, back when we first started discussing this was, you know, during COVID, and you know, via Zoom, and it's explaining this for the first time via virtual. It was very challenging, but I will admit you all got it like pretty quickly, even in that setting. But I do, when we do approach, I was down in Somerset this morning, we passed a second reading, but I always say, you know, to the county attorneys, I'm like, just call, Woodford County, either the attorney or judge executive. They know it very well and can explain it to you in simplified terms. So I know they appreciate it. You did some of the hard legwork, but they appreciate talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mr. County Attorney. We'll move on to new business. We have the proposed first reading of budget amendment number 5, ordinance 2024-01. That's realizing unbudgeted receipts. And this is the point in time where it's good to recognize that the PVA, John Paul Coyle, has returned a significant amount of money back to the county coffers. This was money that we initially received, or we initially paid, that was unused and returned to the fiscal court. And Madam Treasurer, what is the total amount of that receipt?
$61,686.31.
So those are revenues and receipts that we did not expect. And then we have additional receipts on there as well.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions about any of those additional receipt accounts? I do want to make sure that folks know that John Paul Coyle, our PVA, worked hard to return that money to the fiscal court and returned a similar appropriation to the city as well. And that's the first time in my knowledge that we've received that contribution. So we appreciate it. And when we talk about budgeting, having an additional $61,000 is very helpful. Any other questions or comments regarding the budget amendment? Seeing none, I need a motion to have first reading of same.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Gill, second by Squire Downey. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. County Attorney, sir.
Yes, Judge, this would be a first reading of that fiscal court budget amendment, relating to the receipts you just referenced, but the additional receipts for purposes of this budget amendment include state grants, federal grants, sheriff's asset forfeiture, sheriff's county clerk permanent storage fees, opioid settlement money, and American Rescue Plan Act money totaling $382,893.45. And then your appropriations are offset in a like amount. This being a first reading, we do need to have a second reading, which we're 2 weeks in between meetings, so probably will occur at your second meeting in the month of April.
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
We have some fiscal court surplus items that we need to authorize for the sale to be sold on gov deals and the remaining items to be disposed of at the recycling center. Is there a motion to approve the fiscal court surplus?
Motion.
Motion by Squire Gentry. Second by Squire Carl. Are there any questions?
Judge,
Seeing none?
Judge, I
Yes.
just was surprised the adding machine didn't have a strong market in gov deals. That list.
We're reaching back into the keep everything around here. All those in favor of the surplus as moved, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, is there any item that you see that we need to address? Squire Brown, you have something, sir?
Oak Hill Estate, Agriculture Grant, I don't know if you overlooked that or.
We moved to wait till the next meeting, that's correct.
Oak Hill?
Yeah, we're gonna give it, so I try to give each application 2 weeks,
Okay.
and we're just under that 2-week mark, so I'm gonna give it give it to the next meeting to review.
All right,
If that's good by you, Squire Brown.
that's good.
Thank you. See, I forget too. Anything else, Madam Clerk? All right. Let's see. Squire Carl, can we start with you with announcements?
I don't have anything, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Squire Varner, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Last Thursday, unfortunately, the Varner family had an accident on Shannon Run Road and kind of delayed traffic for a while. But what I wanted to say is I wanted to thank our Freeman and his staff, the For Sale City Police, the Woodford County Fire Department. Until you need those folks, you don't know how professional these guys are and these folks are. So I want to extend a big thank you for taking care of that whole mess, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Squire Varner. Squire Gentry.
I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter coming up, and spring break. Everybody be safe, whether you're traveling or staying home. Thank you.
Thank you, Squire Gentry. Squire Taylor.
Judge, I just want to thank you for your moment of silence for Jessica. She was been a friend of mine for more than a decade, and I really appreciate your thoughts on everybody.
Thank you, Squire Taylor. Squire Brown.
Nothing, Judge.
Thank you, sir. Squire Gill.
Nothing. Thank you.
Squire Black.
Yes, thank you.
Squire Down.
Just tomorrow, there's a health and wellness roundtable at the chamber, and also wanted to congratulate local business Spark Community Cafe celebrating their 5-year anniversary tomorrow as well.
That's right. Thank you, Squire Downey. Mr. County Attorney, sir.
No, just like Squire Gentry, Judge, you just wish everyone a happy and blessed Easter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney. Is there anything from the Sun that you need?
Just some spellings and some couple things after the meeting. I will get up with Madam Clerk afterwards.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you very
sir.
much.
I would also just
Yeah.
quickly mention, speaking of Spark Cafe, that Magistrate Downey did, there was a column on the history of that, and last week's Sun, if you're interested in it, it's absolutely fascinating that it's basically a high school project that resulted in that, and they have raised nearly $1 million in 5 years in contributions to do all they do. It's a remarkable thing.
Truly.
We got here.
Truly, and I echo those sentiments. Spark Community Cafe is amazing. And during the cold snap, when we were serving needs in our community, they were a great resource for connecting folks with needs and resources. Thank you, Woodford Sun. I would remind everybody that Election Day is Tuesday, May 21st. We'll have early voting at Falling Springs, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. on May 16th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on May 17th, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on May 18th. We have 4 voting centers on Election Day: Falling Springs, Northside Elementary, Millville Firehouse, and Nonesuch Firehouse. Please go vote and encourage all your citizens and constituents and family to vote. A lot of folks have fought and died for that right, and we are a democracy, and Woodford County wants to be the top voter turnout in the state. We're not projecting to be that this time because of a low turnout in the primary, but I hope you all will join with me in encouraging folks to vote. Go out and vote, please. And I know our county clerk and her staff and our election officers have done a lot of work in getting prepared for both this primary and the general election. The next thing is we are closed on Friday for Good Friday. We wish everybody a happy Easter. And we lost a great Woodford Countyan in Mary Perry Chapman. And I'd like to offer a moment of silence in honor of her life and memory. We wish her husband Spurgeon and her family, they're in our thoughts and prayers, and we wish them the best as they laid her to rest today. We will do a moment of silence, and then we will adjourn in honor of the great Woodford Countyan Mary Perry Chapman. Amen. We are adjourned. God bless you, and God bless Woodford County.